Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Glenn, and I'm here on behalf of myself, Kenya Plato, and me, Tol Shonik, to share with you how to use anthropology to make a difference in business. We are completing this presentation in conjunction with our Anthropology 214 course with Dr. Reeves. Today, during our presentation, we are going to highlight many key features of anthropology and how they can be related in the business and social entrepreneurship world. We will also discuss a few examples of businesses and/or organizations that fit this mold. So, what exactly is anthropology? Well, anthropology is the scientific and humanistic study of human beings and all that human beings encompass. This can include things such as biology, evolution, history, culture, relationships, and more, according to Nanda and Worms. Like all scientific disciplines, anthropology seeks to describe, analyze, and explain, and this can be done through a variety of studies, whether that be historical, observational, or experimental. Anthropology differs from other sciences by being more focused on the human factors. Human life does not occur in a vacuum, and anthropologists try to ensure that all the intersecting aspects of environment, society, biology, communication, and more are all acknowledged in their studies. For failure to analyze even one of these characteristics could result in some great misunderstandings. Now, how can you make a difference in business? Well, as business majors, you are studying the four main facets of business, from financing to managing, marketing, and planning. When you finish, you will apply the principle gleaned from your program to whatever career path you choose. In fact, if you decide to start your own business to be an entrepreneur, then you will still apply the same learned lessons. Being an entrepreneur, though, is not just about being your own boss. It also includes ownership. Owning your business, but also owning the work that you do, the culture that you create, the commitments that you make to clients and employees. All of these failures will be owned by you. From entrepreneurship, we move on to social entrepreneurship. This is an endeavor which is designed like a business with goals outside of increasing shareholder wealth. The primary goal is to effect change through innovation in communities or even globally. The interaction between the stakeholders is more than a business process. It's really a movement towards improvement. That is not to say that social entrepreneurship isn't about profit. These businesses can operate as nonprofits or for-profit corporations. The business model is set to be efficient as opposed to charity operations with high overheads and little actual work. There also is an expectation for return on the investment, either financially or socially. So, how do anthropology and social entrepreneurship meld together? First, you must define the mission of the business. Is it related to sustenance, education, energy, or potentially economic freedom? Who do you want to help? How can you possibly help them? And how can this business sustain itself, whether it be financially or administratively? Is there a point where the goal can be reached and the project can be completed? Or will the work continue in perpetuity? How do you really answer any of these questions? Or do we really need to answer them? Of course, you can decide these things prior to doing any labor, or you can go full steam ahead with little to no preparation. But without a holistic look and approach at the communities that you want to help, or having an understanding of underlying cultural norms, you cannot make impactful change. Anthropology will help you create and adapt plans that work in cultural context. How can you look at it anthropologically? Are you looking at it through your own eyes or looking at it from the perspective of those in that culture? Anthropology teaches you to use cultural relativism. Misunderstanding the cultural norms of the people you want to help can ultimately lead to your business's downfall. So, pictured here, we have a decent sampling of several anthropology courses. Some of the courses that you see displayed are even offered right here at William Peace University. They are varied and can help business majors who want to work in global corporations, potentially small businesses, or even social entrepreneurship. Understanding women's roles may help when dealing with male-dominated workspaces abroad. Sports anthropology can help with bonding with clients and potential coworkers. Understanding India is a definite must-have in today's technical workforce market. All of these courses can offer insight to a willing student. With the current demographic changes here in the United States, Hispanic Voices in the U.S. is a crucial course for being able to effectively communicate with the emerging workforce. For the social entrepreneur, grant writing is a must-have course as well for initial stages of business and for sustainability purposes. Grant writing, for those of you who are unaware, is another form of financing, something that we feel all business majors should be familiar with prior to graduation. Social entrepreneurship businesses can take on many forms and a variety of characteristics. For example, if we look at food security, Heifer International is a great example of a company who fits this, where food animals are donated with the expectation that some or at least one offspring will be paid forward to another needy family. Thrift retail is definitely exemplified through Rehab Store, which is Habitat for Humanity's thrift business where the profit helps build homes. Clean energy from Green Mountain Energy helps homeowners and businesses convert to green energy sources. Microlending banks as well as dog training in prisons is something we're going to get into more in the following slides, so we'll cover more of that soon. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Tom's, and some of you are potentially even wearing their shoes at this very moment. But they're a fantastic example of a company who is profitable and charitable at the same time. For example, they both donate a pair of shoes to someone in Africa for every single pair of shoes that are purchased. It's basically fitting 2 individuals with a pair of shoes for every one sale. Ethos Water from Starbucks is another fine example, where a portion of sales from bottles funds the creation of wells in Africa. Notice that these are corporate arms of charities, actual charities, and even for-profit businesses. They use business principles such as return on investment, financing activities, and they impact their chosen client base in positive ways. In the following slides, we're going to take a look and see how 2 different social entrepreneurship use business and anthropological principles. So let's talk about microlending. First off, what is microlending exactly? Well, microlending is lending small amounts of money to those who need it. It is just a loan, but on a much smaller scale. It is often used for entrepreneurial purposes. The purpose is not just profit, but to also aid clients in undeserved or undeveloped communities. Nobel Prize winner Muhammad Yunus is credited with being the pioneer of the modern version of microfinance, according to Brooks. He loaned money to basket weavers who were unable to obtain financing outside of usurious sources and created Grameen Bank in order to reach a wider clientele. This garnered interest from both financial and social justice quarters for reasons from profit to equality economics. Loan amounts vary depending on where the borrower lives. In the United States, a microloan is any loan under $50,000, whereas in Africa or India, a loan can be as small as $25, according to Pritchard. Microloans can be obtained from various places, in regular banks, credit unions, online, and through even private individuals. On the right is a list of well-known microlenders, such as Grameen Bank, Kiva Zip, Opportunity Fund, and ASEAN. These are both for and nonprofit. They also have mandates to help create change and rely on anthropological methods to target and vet clients to shape their repayment plans. So take Grameen Bank, for instance. Yunus is an economist, but when creating his model, he also relied heavily on his understanding of culture. For instance, he saw a need for basket weavers to be able to live on their earnings instead of using earnings to pay back loan sharks, who were really their only source of income. He loaned primarily to women who were, as a rule, neglected by formal financial institutions. Yunus understood that while women may not have been seen as the breadwinners in the family, they were often contributing or sole earners for their families. This is where understanding women's roles in a society and understanding Indian culture came in handy for Yunus. He also understood that collateral could not be offered, but that peer pressure would help ensure repayment of loans. Remember, this will not work in all cultures, so it is extremely important to understand the culture of those you wish to service. Yunus also knew that only small payments, and not total repayment, would work for these women, along with the support for those who face setbacks and from those who were thriving. Grameen has only been successful as it considers its clients' social and cultural influences in its decision-making process. A popular aspect of social entrepreneurship is the provision of service animals. Many people know about service animals in some aspect, but we're going to dive deeper into what they are and who really handles the training for them. These animals are trained to help meet the physical or emotional needs of suffering people. We have all seen seeing eye dogs and therapy animals for autistic children before, as these are two of the most common forms of service animals. It took months and sometimes years of training to prepare these animals for their roles. The training is both about obedience and learned responsiveness. The trainers themselves must be trained to properly deal with untrained animals and to know the proper training techniques. The costs can be prohibitive as trainers. Upkeep and administrative costs can add up over the months of training. There are several groups that train service animals, such as Four Paws for Ability, Canine Caregivers, Prison Pet Partnership, and Patriot Paws. They're paid through grants, donations, and even insurance. And any and all of these donations can come from corporations or from individuals themselves. Patriot Paws is an organization that serves three social needs: rescuing dogs, training inmates, and providing service dogs for veterans. The dogs come from all over and can be purchased for the purpose of the training, but more often than not, they are rescued. The inmates who provide the training are also provided with a new skill set and also gain confidence as contributing members to society. The veterans are given trained animals that can help with both physical ailments as well as PTSD symptoms. All three are able to better mingle in society regardless of past traumas. It's a win-win situation for everyone, from the prison inmates to the service animals themselves, as well as the veterans. This also helps reduce the rate of repeat offenses from inmates when they are released from prison, which is another major plus. The costs for service animals, though, are exorbitant, about $33,000 for each dog, according to Patriot Paws. But the benefits are numerous and well worth the cost. Anthropology can help this program by examining prison cultures and discovering which inmates will be most successful. Anthropologists can provide insight as to why therapy dogs are beneficial in ways that psychology and pharmacology are not. It is also important that any social entrepreneur that is interested in these programs understands how the financial losses see a return in social payment, a tenet of cultural anthropology. This also means that alternative revenue streams must be found, such as through grant writing or marketing for charitable donations. Well, that concludes our presentation. Thank you all for listening. Kenya, me, and I hope that we have impressed upon you the importance of anthropology to make changes even as business majors. Businesses survive when they feel a need in society. Social entrepreneurs see past profitability to meet the needs of communities, both domestically and worldwide. This current slide credits our sources for our presentation. Again, thank you for your attention today, and have a great day.